that'll die for me. You niggas ain't built like that. Run around talking like a dog when you go and bust a slug. Man, niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz. Man, blood'll get spilled like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge. Man, get your cat built like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. When you ain't built like that. You niggas ain't built like that. You was never on the block, you ain't never dodging off. You ain't never fought another crew holding down the park. You ain't swam with the sharks, you ain't wrestled with the gators. You was never fucking popping, you ain't got no fucking haters. Bitch, niggas like you make me watch out for the traitors. When you around some real niggas, mind your behavior. I will beat a nigga ass, then I'm laughing like I'm Jada. Get your fucking mind blown like a cartridge on a Sega. You niggas want attention, they don't want the war though. Talking all that shit, but you got a glass jaw. How they never deliver, they got that DiGiorno. This that Walking Dead flow, I eat a rapper torso. You ain't the same man when you off the microphone. You ain't never broke a bone, you ain't never had a scar. You a certified pussy, so don't make me pull your car. I'm a certified prophet, respected like the word of God. Cause you ain't got the heart, nigga, you ain't got the heart. You ain't about to finish any beef that you start. You ain't never been a soldier, little nigga, play your part. Claiming that you spark when you ain't got the heart. Cause you niggas ain't built like that. Run around talking like a thug when you go and bust a slug. Man, niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz. Man, blood'll get spilled like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge. Man, get your cat built like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. When you ain't built like that. Run around talking like a dog when you go and bust a slug. Man, niggas get killed like that. Acting like you bang for the set when you ain't blood or cuz. Man, blood gets spilled like that. Niggas saying really they the plug, but they talking to the judge. Man, get your cat built like that. Cause niggas get killed like that. All my niggas ride for me. All my niggas ride with me. I got niggas that'll die for me. All my niggas ride with me. You niggas ain't. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't had to die to meet the devil. I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them fiending. And then he tried to show you, make sure that you leave him leaking. He said, I'ma hold you down when problems pop up. How you got me moving this dope? Want me in lockup? He said, don't you want the Benz vertical with the top up? Yeah. Stop, bitch, you get in that kitchen, let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's pop up. I know you know Ron. You the plug from by the block up? I'll tell you a little secret, make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. First the little Bahamas, just got a whip for his mama. He fucking up in commas, be honest, he seen decent though. I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. In fact, he ain't looking too good, his knees is kinda slow. I asked him why the struggle, he got stuck up for his bundle. But them 6 hollow tips in his legs what made him crumble. He got the house and mama is living good. Said the feds took it all, he right back in the hood. I see you try to play me, you gave us crack in the 80s. Made us support our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than cause when to amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't face me. I guarantee that you gon' regret it. Remember I said it. Nah, you could dead it. What you saying? I can't win? Nah, devil, nice try. So until we meet again, I ain't have to die to meet the devil. fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't at the die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious, but we been getting fucked up. But to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murder on the laws and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even called the Boston bomber. But when we ride, they send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights, patting me down. You got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I give up my fight. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And your honor, why you gave our homeboys life? I've been wondering why you shot our homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from my baby's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's tripe, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. As Trayvon, Mike Brown, a Kai Gurley, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Olden, Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. He said I pray to die every devil. We about to bombard their whole operation. Certified priest, prophesying this my occupation. This shit outrageous. They done made the truth docile. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. I.S.U.P.K style. They stop now. Try this warfare couldn't last one round. Let the oppressed rise, and let the rich mourn till the sundown. Enough with this shit, about to make it hot. Call it compound. Just for my niggas, put the guns in the drums down. Dwelling in peace till the Lord call for the blood. Hey, try to decide my death and got beside yourself. Swore draw for what you perform. How you gon' hide yourself? Devil got to die for his lies and his peace. Ain't got no love for the practice. Nah, just cruel teach. And in my father's house is feeding mansions. I got plenty bitch. What the Avengers? This your death sentence. I'm talking about slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah, slaughter. That they do not ride and feel the world when I die. And now, boy, don't skip. You gon' die for your crime. That's why I'm talking to you. So run for your life. Your life try to destroy my people. You gotta pay the price, nigga. You gotta hear, let them hear. Till the devils let me in this still. Slaughter, yeah, slaughter, yeah. Now they shook from vicious words out this handbook. About to take these rappers back to school. My flow standing hook. They crossed the line, ain't no coming back. You became no cowards. The only thing sweet is the honey check. Righteous is the Lord. Give me rest from my sorrow. And hang down death for them devils. There's no tomorrow. Why? Cause they violence leave a man a stiff corpse. You see a flag in the badge. I see horns in a pitchfork. Go ahead. So please believe it. The white man is a demon. And I ain't gon' go with him to free me. No, it is to we. The color purple is why them for no apparent reason. No reason at all. They asked for license and registration. That's the police officer over there that did it. With the black on. I can't really do shit because they got the camera. I can't believe they did this. I'm fucking. That's what I'm all about. Hunger in my eyes, vengeance in my mouth. They don't want no altercation. Situation gon' get critical. It's best that you be easy. The end gon' be biblical. Look, flow like a river. It's something like a miracle. Royalty in my veins, loyalty in my veins. Pay back in every breath. Plus convenience in my heart. The truth in every word. Bring light into the dark. And I ain't never lukewarm. Shit, I blazing in the season. Got plenty food for thought. Just gotta watch who I'm feeding. I've been walking with them angels. So I guess I got this pistol for no reason. Niggas barely breathing, criticizing all my achievements. Won't make me weak. Nah, it won't make me slack off. These niggas baby fat, so I better bear witness I'm back off. I be ripping shit like sackcloth. Dumb dogs all blocked out. Behind me say I come full. No room for emotion, so I pour my heart out. This road hard, but I intend to stay. And if it ain't UPK, then they in the way. My niggas righteous, they real, they down to something. Flow so deep, they drown a motherfucker. He say he in the truth, oh yeah? Well, this the home. And I don't hate them brothers, I'm just too loyal to my own. Plus what they believe, hard for me to follow. No rank me, no head. I ain't leaving this body, then live and sleep in hollow. So when they ask I'm UPK, tell them absolutely. And I ain't trimming my ways for nothing. Gotta execute me. Cause I can never doubt my tail tucked between my legs. Shit I be thinking, watching my daughters tucked in their bed. They so smart, and Alana, she's so beautiful, but they ain't like other babies, and they daddy far from usual. Now I'm missing cause I'm about my father's business. It ain't about this shit I used to do in that 98 Navy, the 10 level seats. See, without wisdom, this world make you weak. I found out that the truth was bitter. The lies are sweet, tried everything. I guess me and Yohanna had to meet. Now I make the blind see, and I make the dead speak. And teach both my little girls the day that they lie with a man. They better bring their bloody bed sheets. Chaos match the time. This Glock match my handpiece. And I ain't trying to take him out, but I will defend this house. Or take a check. 144 in that black trench on some hitman shit. She call me 47. Praying for Armageddon. Me and my soldiers dressed for the wedding. Fuck the fame. Ask why, tell them I'm loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign. Loyal to the king. I want this straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king. The devils can't have me, bitch. I'm loyal to the king. Bring that hot flame, new bitch. Hey, loyal to the king. Until the righteous reign. Loyal to the king. I want that straight lane to break the chain. Loyal to the king. The devils can't have me, bitch. I'm loyal to the king. Bring that hot flame, new bitch. Hey, loyal to the Jordans. Tired of the lies pastors told over organs. Her father just passed, so her heart had it then. She would struggle with her mother to come up with the rent. Pastor only wanted $1, something make sense. Till she heard a little story that was something like this. What's your nationality? Come and get a flyer. Do you know we got a dark-skinned Messiah? The devil is deceitful and the white man is a liar. Now she wanna study just to get her knowledge higher. A few months passed, then she ain't one with her mother. Since she started learning, they would argue with each other. My mother doesn't understand, I'm not in the code. She needs to respect my decisions as an adult. This is a nice place where nobody will hurt you. Everything's so pretty and we're all wearing purple. It's been a few months, she found a man of the Lord, steady in the word, always sharper than his sword. Stimulates her mind so she never gets bored. Talks to her like a princess and never like a whore. Got her thinking that there's more than only getting the draws. He's such a gentleman, always opening doors. Took her on a date for everything in the stores, from dinner to Michael Kors. He's like, have it, it's yours. She can't believe it, it's all but a dream. Everything is beautiful, all peaches and cream. She says to herself, I'm happy I joined this group. It makes me feel good, I finally found the truth. These other groups always talking about polygyny, but I found a real man who says he's only into me. What a nice place where nobody will hurt you. Everything's so pretty and we're all wearing purple. Then one night on their way home, she seen something she ain't like when she went through his phone. Is this why you said that it's hard to take care of me? You wasn't gonna say you got a whole family? I don't understand, how you think it's fair to me? I was sharing you, but you ain't been sharing me. Why won't you answer me? But he's thinking carefully. He tried to calm her down, don't get hype. Couldn't diffuse the situation and they started to fight. He made a wrong turn, then a left and a right. Now they was in a wooded area with not much light. How did all this go wrong? It was such a good night. Said she's gonna tell the bishop out of anger and spite. He said it's not a good idea to cause me this much strife. You should have told the truth and every lie got a price. But if it comes down to my wife, it's gonna be your life. Good night.
Any man give his life for Yahweh Shai Mashiach in Christ and fall up under that UPK banner is my brother and my blood, and I will die and kill for him if necessary. It's all about that warfare, boy. It's all about that warfare, boy. My soldiers take ground till I'm standing down. My soldiers take ground till I'm standing down, boy. Take ground. Now this ain't no movement, this a takedown. We would not be moved or intimidated. is 12. Be wise with the weapons, cause I promise. My nine just like my wife. She concealed, she modest. I know 2 things. A robber will not prosper. And any man harm me and my aunt gon' be some duck. Cause this life is warfare, it's not an easy walk. Been watching my people die so you can miss me with that long talk. Like U.P.K soldiers, any man try to cross your path, make him regret what that means for all of his days. Comparing me to you really ain't no contest. The only one with, say what? The only one with. This for those who thinking we ain't ready for. Tell them back up, I'm about to drop something heavy for. Who the grip, 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 who the grip. It's all about that warfare, boy. Get grip, get grip, get grip, back up, get grip, get grip, get grip, back up, get grip, get grip. It's all about that warfare, boy. Take grip, 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 take grip. My soldiers take grip till I'm stand up. Take grip, take grip, take grip, take grip, take grip. Take grip, take grip. My soldiers take grip till I'm stand up, boy.
SHALAM, with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under command GEN.YAHANNA. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians our true identity according to the Bible, which is the Lord's chosen people. And according to these scriptures, it's the only people upon the face of this earth that the Lord gives a damn about. You understand? Unlike what the Christian church and our religious or spiritual leaders have taught us, the God of this earth and of the universe ain't no all love and power. He only cares about a specific nation of people, and that's the 12 tribes of Israel. It's like, and of course, that our oppressor, the same man that invaded our lands in 1492, the same ones, it's like that stole our brothers off of the west coast of Africa, the same ones that stole land from our Hispanic brothers just as he did us, is nothing more than the devil that the Bible speaks of. Essentially, we're going to be going into the violence against, of course, the sisters in the reservations and off of the reservations. That is just such, an alarming thing happening within our communities that we can't go a single day without seeing a report of a sister going missing. Can't go, a single day without, hearing about the horrendous things happening to our women as we try to maneuver through this wicked kingdom known as America. And first thing we're going to get into is there's a short story. Says the story reads: Fox News host says Native American land wasn't stolen. We won this land on the battlefield. Saying which, if something really a lot of us should know is, once you actually start to bring up the crimes of our oppressor to his face, lay them down at his feet, and let him know how it is that he is wrong for doing what he has done, and he acquired our land, our kingdom through such wicked means. He'll always resort to saying exactly what this devil has said. says Fox News host Jesse Waters went on air Tuesday to say American land was never stolen, just won on the battlefield and bought. This land wasn't stolen, Waters said. We won this land on the battlefield and we bought it, right? We purchased we purchased Florida from Spain. And that's exactly the type of excuses it is that our oppressor will make to try to make it seem like it was right as to how it is they acquired this land. But of course, with him saying these things, he's not telling the full story of everything that has happened. You know what I'm saying? He's not telling how it is that they raped and lied and caused a genocide in order to acquire this land. How it is that his people sat there and tried to strip away our culture and our customs and integrate us into American society. Salakia. You know what I'm saying? He won't say those things, but what he will say is that it was never stolen and that it was, simply won in battle. It was fair game. The natives, they just took an L, and that's that. When our oppressor being such a beast that he is, and with not only us knowing the history and not forgetting the history of what it is that has happened to us, but these devils especially know about what it is that they have done to so-called Native Americans, Native Indians, to so-called Hispanics, to so-called blacks, in order to acquire their disgusting and wicked kingdom. I need a precept real quick. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. You understand? And that's exactly what this devil, this host was essentially doing. He was making sure that he was using his smooth words by saying, this land, it was won through battles, through wars. You understand? It was not simply stolen, but it was all an outcome of two nations butting heads coming against one another. It's lucky. But war was in his heart. And the whole reason it is that this devil is saying that, trying to use his slick tongue to word his sentences a specific kind of way when it comes to the theft of our land and the rape and genocide of our people is, because of what's going on nowadays in the earth, specifically pertaining to so-called Native Indians, the tribe of Gad, according to the Bible, and how it is that our people are, ultimately damn near revolting against, the governments, Canadian government, soon to be the U.S. government, from the crimes that have been committed against us concerning the boarding schools or the residential schools. You're saying concerning all of the tortures it is that we had to go through as a nation at the hands of not only America, but by the hands of her people in order to try to strip us of what is rightfully ours, to try to strip us of our culture. Yes, and that's the only reason it is that this devil is saying this, because at the end of the day, just like this devil and many, many, many other devils out there in the world that we converse with and are probably best friends with, saying he doesn't want to, take away from his empire in order to build up the, tribe of Gad, to build up the indigenous nations that his people have wronged. You understand? That's why, he's making light of what has really happened to our people by simply saying, oh, it was a war. You understand? Oh, there was nothing that was stolen from these people. You understand? They lost. They had to give over something because they lost. It happens with every nation that loses a war against another one. You understand? All of that is so that he, doesn't have to see so-called native Indians come up out of the dirt. You understand? So that he doesn't have to see us, come out of the oppression it is that we live under every single day as a nation. You understand? And we've been living under this oppression for so goddamn long. I mean, just think of how long it is that these devils have been saying that. How long they've been saying, oh, well, we don't deserve this or that because we simply lost at a war, or as we all already know how it is that our oppressor has lied, and countless times and said that there was no land stolen from us. It was all just simply bad business deals on our part. And that's the spirit of our oppressor, and it's one that is going to remain on this earth until we start keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us as a nation. It's lucky. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. Yes, and especially with this devil being, on the news, you know what I'm saying? He's especially learned how to word things in a way to not exactly cause a complete uproar within our communities. To be a blatant disrespect to us as a nation, which really by saying that it is, utterly disrespectful. But because of the teachings of our so-called leaders, the teachings of ultimately our Christian leaders, which if you follow religion, no matter what it is, and it preaches God loves everybody and we should all join together, it's all a Christian doctrine, simply rebranded and taught by a different person. You understand? But because of those teachings it is that have been passed down to us for so long, like a lot of our people are going to overlook what it is that this devil has said, especially those who have decided to turn their back on our nation. You understand? For those that have decided to full-heartedly cling to the teat of America, no matter the circumstances, no matter the oppression it is that we go through, no matter the poverty we go through, you understand? No matter how much, land is stolen from us or how many sisters have gone missing or have been raped. You understand? This whole doctrine of, forgiveness and joining hand in hand, it plays a huge part in our downfall as a nation. You understand? And sooner or later, the real leaders of our people are going to change that. You understand? We're not always going to be a dancing, singing nation of people looking to, acquire the love of those who have hated us for over hundreds of years. You understand? Soon we're going to take back on that mantle of being warriors. You understand? Of being war chiefs, of being feared by our oppressor and his families. You understand? Eventually, it's going to happen. We're not just going to be, docile like we are now. The article reads, guest host Geraldo Rivera then asked Waters about Native Americans who lost an estimated 90% of their pre-1492 population over decades of violence and viruses they had no immunity from as Europeans continued arriving. Well, what about them, Geraldo? We won that territory on the battlefield, Waters said. It was an ugly, brutal battle, but we won it. We're not just going to give everything back to the indigenous people of this country. And that's exactly the spirit of our oppressor. And that's the spirit that he's always had ever since before he landed on our shores. Since before he waged such a brutal and just disgusting war against our people, against so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. That's always been his spirit, to simply say, well, hey, we won. You understand? They lost. They bet it all. They put all their eggs in one basket. You understand? God wasn't with them. He was with us. They took that L, and here we are. You understand? That's the type of spirit it is that our oppressor has, and one that he's always going to have, no matter what his status is in this earth or in America. So let me get the scripture real quick. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. You see, and that right there is a very important lesson, is that we need to start learning as so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, as the oppressed people on the face of this earth, is we need to learn to not only stop trusting, but to never trust our enemy, to never trust the people who have been oppressing us for so goddamn long that it just damn near seems like it's part of our culture to be up under these people. You understand? It's something that is destined for us to simply be slaves to these people. You understand? We got to stop trusting these goddamn devils. And you might say, well, why would you bring this up concerning, this devil who blatantly let us know how much it is that he don't give a damn about our people? You understand? Because whether we realize it, accept it, or not, you understand, every single one of these oppressors is our enemy. No matter how much they're down for us as a people, no matter how much they speak out, no matter how many Native lives or Black Lives Matter shirts they wear, no matter how much pepper spray they might take at a pipeline protest, you understand, these people are not down for us. Because at the end of the day, they can leave all of, you understand, that's going on. They can completely block us out of their minds and go and continue on with their everyday life in their society, in their kingdom. You understand? They might have sacrificed, a meal or two, for a couple of days in order to sit beside us in the cold. But at the end of the day, you understand, these people, they're still going to go back and have a 5-star meal in their warm homes with, circulating water. You understand? And that even includes And for those of us who are so easily tricked, you understand, the women or men, it's like men that decide to make relationships with us as a people. You know what I'm saying? Even the goddamn racist devils back then would make relationships with our people. Even they would go on to build families and, become members in the community, supposedly, helping out our people. But at the end of the day, their loyalty lies to their own. You understand? Their loyalty ultimately falls to their people and, their kingdom. And it doesn't matter, how many hours it is that, we spend together going through hardships. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter how many meals we share together. At the end of the day, our way of life, you understand, what it is that we go through as a people is not the same as what they go through. Their world is completely different from ours. And, if we stop trying to, I'm trying to word this. You know, saying if we stop trying to, I guess you'd say, dismantle that myth of we're all the same. I shouldn't say dismantle. You know, saying, but if we stop trying to push that myth that we're all the same, Salakia, you understand, and that doctrine of we can all just come together and dwell in unity as one body and one mind. You understand, like that would ultimately help our people tremendously, for us to simply realize that these people are not for us and they are not the same as us. They've been oppressing us for 400 years, and that oppression is not going to stop anytime soon. So why would it, when it's prospered their people so much, their kingdom so much, to have so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians under their boot heels? So like, says it was an ugly, brutal battle, but we won it. We're not just going to give everything back to the indigenous people of this land. And that right there is in the hearts and the minds of every single devil who claims to be down with our people, down for the cause and sacrifice their time and money to help our people. You understand? They have that same kind of mentality of, well, hey, these people lost. We're not just going to give back our riches. We're not going to give our kingdom over to these people. And that's the type of mentality it is that these devils have. And it is such a, disgusting way to view it, because our people went through absolute hell just to simply survive. It's not even, at some point, it's not even to, control the land. It was all just a war of survival. A war to be able to see your family for another day, to hold your baby and your wife for one more night. You're saying it was all a war to have your favorite meal or to be around your brothers and sisters one more time before these devils decided to, put an end to everything. Because at the end of the day, these devils simply just hunted us down like we were dogs. You're saying like we were boars ready for slaughter to be laid upon their tables. You're saying that's what these devils did. So to simply try to chalk up everything that happened to us, to chalk up the land that has been stolen from us to a war, like it's such a wicked thing to do, because everybody knows about all of the horrendous crimes that were committed against us as a people. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 50. It's lucky. Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 50. A nation of fierce continents. It's lucky. I'm going to go up to verse 49. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. So just like this devil is saying, how it is that, we just went to war with each other, and, that's that. But the Lord's letting us know how it is that this nation that we knew nothing about, we didn't know their language, I shouldn't say most of us, but really our generations had never met these people, so we didn't know a damn thing about them, and they would come to our lands for war. They came from afar off, from one side of the earth, sailed an entire year, suffered, sicknesses, being malnourished, dehydrated, had goddamn revolts, just suffered all these things that would, break up people, and they, even after surviving all of that, once these people got their strength back, they still chose to go to war with the Lord's chosen people, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Verse 50, a nation of fierce continents, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor shew favor to the young. And that's exactly the same spirit in this earth today for our oppressors. And just like this devil said, let me pull it up. It was an ugly, brutal, it was an ugly, brutal battle, but we won it. We're not just going to give everything back to the indigenous people of this country. You understand? That's how it is that these people, view us. And it's not simply giving us back our land, what is rightfully ours, because, we were the first ones to possess it. Our oppressor doesn't want to give us back our land because he knows once we're able to actually produce something for ourselves, once we're actually able to gather the resources and to make goods for ourselves, that we can come up out of this condition it is that we live in. that we'll no longer be living in hell. You understand that we can separate ourselves from him and to join ourselves together as a nation to better our lives. And that's simply something that our oppressor cannot have. Our oppressor cannot have the savages of this earth getting out of the dirt. You understand? He can't have us not being alcoholics, not being, drug addicts, not being, prostitutes and whores. You understand? He can't have these things, because once we come up out of that condition, you understand? Once we come up out of that low state of being, then this entire earth, especially our oppressor's kingdom, you understand, America, will be flipped on its goddamn head. You understand? Our oppressor will be in complete turmoil and confusion if us as a nation were able to come up out of the condition it is that we live in and that we've been living in for over 400 years. There's a reason it is that no matter how much sentimental these people are towards our condition or towards what has happened to us in the past, talking about how horrible it is and how it shouldn't have happened, how they're sorry. If they can do anything, they would do it. No matter how many devils say that, at the end of the day, these people are not going to sacrifice their kingdom or their riches, their wealth, and their land that they have accumulated off of the death and enslavement of our forefathers. It's just something that's not going to happen. If that was really the case, with how long it is that these devils have been saying that they're down with the cause, that they're down for us, and are ready to make a change for us, I mean, we could damn near be out of the condition it is that we live in. You understand? We should be able to have our own land to separate and do our own thing, especially with the government officials who have always claimed that they're down with us, that they're down for the cause and ready to make sacrifices in the fight and to make changes in order to better our lives as a people. But yet, at the end of the day, we're still in the same condition we've been in. You understand? We're still living in utter poverty and dirt, just as we were as slaves when we had to work in the fields and in the mines in order to build our oppressor's kingdom. You're saying it's the same condition. You're saying don't simply let our oppressor fool you into thinking just because it's 2021 that things have changed. Not a damn thing has changed in our oppressor's kingdom when it comes to our oppression, when it comes to keeping us down. So if I could real quick, just as a side note, since we're talking about devils who, claim to be down with the cause, claim to be down with, our people and being able to get them up out of the condition it is that we live in every single day to day, suffering. You understand? A little while back, when I was talking to my mother's father, my grandfather. You understand? And I forget what the main conversation was, but of course, Tribe of Gad was brought up. You understand? So-called Native Indians, and this is a man who loves to let it be known that he's got, black friends. He's got token friends. His best friends is niggas. You understand? They're like this, like that. You understand? Not to be separated whatsoever. You understand? Always speaking out against social injustices done to our people. And I'm, of course, I'm saying so-called blacks, the tribe of Judah, is our people. Because if you go and look at history, you understand, and look at the condition it is that we both live in till this day, you understand, ain't no other nation on this earth treated like we are. You're saying blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the only ones treated a certain kind of way, are the only ones oppressed till this day, are the only ones, who live under these curses in this book right here in the Holy Bible. You understand? So, with this Edomite always saying how it is that he's down, but when it came time to talk about how it was that the land, that it is that he lives on, the acres that he's acquired, it's all due to the rape and murder and lies. It is that his forefathers, that his people, did or the lies that is they have said to our people in order to acquire the land. And at the end of the day, no matter how much he was down for it, no matter how much, my mother was down for our people, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, you understand, they didn't want to give up their possessions, didn't want to give up their status in their kingdom in this land to give it over to a bunch of savages, to a bunch of niggas and spicks. And so it's important to take a note of, just because either your parent or someone you're close with claims to be all for your people, at the end of the day, their status in their kingdom, it far outweighs the oppression and poverty that we live in. I'm gonna skip down a paragraph. Actually, we're gonna actually go to the book of Mark, chapter 3, and verse 27. Mark 3, 27. Give you a second to get there. So I'm about to go into, this whole really pandemic with, all of our sisters who have gone missing and who have been brutalized by our oppressor. You understand? First of all, what we got to realize as a people is the only way it is that, you can move into another person's land and really do whatever it is that you want to not only the people in general, but as well as the sisters and children. It's if you take out the warriors, you know what I'm saying? If you take out the strong, masculine men who are, ready and willing to fight and die for their people. And that's exactly what America has done to the brothers in the reservations as well as outside the reservations. Is they've utterly, beaten down our brothers. Beat them down so much so that, the amount of sisters who have gone missing, who have been, molested or raped, like, it is such a ridiculous number. And the only way that's going to change is if brothers start coming into the I.S.U.P.K under Command GEN.YAHANNA. Otherwise, numbers are just going to keep going up. We're going to see more and more news articles every day. More and more sisters are going to go missing. It's just going to be blown way out of, proportion. It's gone from, something that is alarming, and it's going to be multiplied, tenfold to what it is right now if brothers don't start getting that masculine warrior spirit back on them, and if sisters don't start getting that feminine submissive spirit back on them to listen to their man or to their fathers or their brothers when they tell them to do something. When they tell them how it is that they're supposed to be conducting themselves in the world, so that they know how to handle certain situations. So lucky. This is the book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 27. No man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods. Why is it you can't enter into a strong man's house? And it is really quite simple. And the simple answer is because a strong man would straight out kill you for coming up into his house. For trying to take what is his and trying to spoil what belongs to him. Such as his daughters, such as his wife or wives, his children. You understand? That's why our oppressor went out of his way to ensure that he wiped out, all of the warriors within our communities, because our oppressor already knows if you take out the soldiers, if you take out the masculine men who are going to be leaders within the community, no matter what hard time they fall upon, then you can ultimately beat down and make a nation submit unto you, because they have no leadership. They have no might in their hand to defend themselves or to wage war against you if you decide to go out and do some wicked thing to them. You understand? That's why it is that our oppressor, stayed. It's like, why is it he stayed constantly going to war with certain tribes? Why he would pit tribes together and, try to indoctrinate tribes in order to take out the strong men within our communities. Take out the soldiers that are supposed to be looking over the nation. That's why it's so goddamn ridiculous for when our people say, at the first people that our oppressor went for when he invaded our lands was, two spirited men. There ain't no benefit in going after, someone that would be nowadays part of the LGBTQ community. A man that is part of the community he is weak. He is not a strong man that is going to look out for his nation, look out for his people. saying so just saying, even making a statement like those were the first 3 rounded up and killed, and then the masculine men, the soldiers, and this and that. It's such a dishonorable and ridiculous statement to make, because our oppressor, saying, he is the biggest supporter of LGBTQ nonsense, no matter what the time period is. You saying, so to say such a thing, it just, you can tell it comes from an oppressor. You understand? You can tell it's a doctrine of an oppressor, simply put there to deceive and confuse us as a nation. Marie, and spoil his goods. Saying, like we went over before, saying a man's goods is, saying his possessions. It's his wife or wives. It's his daughters. Saying, so just like our oppressor came in so long ago and started raping our women and our children, saying he does the same thing today, and he's been doing it for hundreds of goddamn years. And it's so ridiculous that he got an entire slave trade just prospering off of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian sisters. I'm saying, it wasn't too long ago that they found out there was a damn goddamn slave like ring on Lake Superior, where they were moving sisters across on goddamn cargo ships. You understand? That's definitely something that would have to be backed and maintained by someone within the U.S. as well as Canadian government. Otherwise, something like that would not be possible to happen. And what's even worse is if we had stronger men. If we had brothers that still had that warrior spirit on them, you understand, all of these missing sisters, like those numbers would not be anywhere near what they are now. But because of the whole, God loves everybody and we're all one under the sun type of doctrine and philosophy, that's something that has truly beaten down the spirits of our people. Of course, not only that, but as well as the poverty we go through. You understand, the oppression it is that we suffer at the hands of our oppressor. And I mean, as well as just countless other things is that we go through just day to day trying to survive like our forefathers did so long ago when we were at war with our oppressor. You know what I'm saying? Just like they was trying to survive, just like they was just trying to have another night of holding their wife, of being able to see their children. You know what I'm saying? We're doing the same goddamn thing today in 2021. We're simply just trying to not die out here in America, die out here in Canada. That's such a sad thing. You understand? Like that's why it's so important to have strong leaders. You understand? To have men who can lead our people, can lead our nation, and can lead other young, young willing men who want to defend our people. Except he will first bind the strong man and then he will spoil his house. You understand? What's the one of the biggest ways it is that our oppressor, bound the strong men, the warriors within our communities? You understand? One of the biggest ones, of course, is all of the drugs and alcohol it is that our oppressor pumped into our communities, at such a goddamn alarming rate, such a massive rate that, at one point we were drinking goddamn mouthwash and hand sanitizer, just trying to, get our alcohol fixed because we were going through such bad withdrawals. You understand? Like, that's of course one way it is that you bind a strong man. You make him dependent on some kind of substance that can not only alter his mind, but as well as destroy it. You know what I'm saying? You sit there and you get high, you're destroying your mind. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got your priorities on a goddamn thing. And sad to say, so many brothers and sisters within our communities are, drug addicts. You know, so many of us have turned to weed or, psychedelics in order to escape from the oppression it is that we go through every single day. In order to escape from the traumas it is that we have faced as an individual and as a nation. You're saying traumas that are, truly horrific and, some that you would never, ever want to look back upon. So, but because life is about warfare and nothing else, we got to realize that we got to face those traumas. We got to face the poverty. We got to face the oppression. We got to face, you understand, our, women being loud and insubordinate. You're saying we gotta face brothers hating one another. We gotta to face all of it and take it head on, or else, brothers and sisters are just going to continue to be drug addicts. So we're going to continue to turn to these, mind altering and numbing substances to try to escape from the oppression it is that we've been going through for so long. And like, we should know by now with how long it is we've been getting high and getting drunk and fleeing from, the reservations and fleeing from our families and fleeing from our identities. We should know that none of that is going to change a damn thing. None of it is going to help us, cope with everything that is going on. We gotta face it as a people, and once we do that, that's damn near half the battle. You understand? Being able to face it and realize that, our oppressor wants us high on drugs. You understand? He wants us smoking marijuana every single goddamn day, 5 times a day, just becoming docile to hell so that we never rise up against him for what it is that he is doing to our people. That's what he wants. You know what I'm saying? That's why it is that he promotes like bud or marijuana so goddamn much. It's because he knows that that's something that us as a people will most definitely turn to and do. You know what I'm saying? Especially with us believing that, getting high is, part of our culture, part of our customs. It's something that our forefathers did to connect to the, spirits and forefathers, when that's simply something that we got from our oppressor. You know what I'm saying? Being a drug addict, it's like being a drug addict is an oppressor thing. It ain't a savage thing. It ain't a nigga or a spick thing. You understand? That's simply an oppressor thing. And that's something we got to realize to get up out of those habits. And then he will spoil his house. It's like, isn't so by our oppressor being able to, make all these brothers and sisters, specifically brothers pertaining to the scriptures, drug addicts and alcoholics, making them dependent on these different substances that make us docile. You're saying he already knows that he can come into our lands and do anything that he pleases. That's why so many devils can come, off reservation and do whatever the hell it is that they want within our communities. Why is it they can bring all of the drugs in the world into our communities? Why is it they can bring weapons into our communities and kidnap sisters and make them prostitutes and come in and make marriages with our women? It's because they know that if they, either get us hopped up on something or, chase us off or get us to follow in their doctrines of, God loves everybody. He knows that he can easily come in and spoil our goods, spoil our sisters and our children, our babies. That's why it's so important for us to simply just put the goddamn joint down. Put that blunt down or that bowl. Stop getting high every goddamn day, just trying to escape from something and face it head on like a man. Face that shit and conquer it. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to be generations of brothers and sisters running from something, destroying themselves, and ultimately destroying our communities because we don't know how to face problems head on. If you want to learn how to properly face your problems head on, how to face your traumas, how to overcome your fears of what has happened to you in the past, come into the ISUPK under Command GEN.YAHANNA. We'll show you what to do. You understand? We'll tell you what it is that you're supposed to do in order to overcome these things, in order to get that spirit it is that America has put upon us so long ago, and one that America has been keeping alive on us for so long. Otherwise, things ain't looking good for our people. Things are not looking good for so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And that's why we should thank the Lord every day for the ISUPK under Command GEN.YAHANNA. Otherwise, we be hit. And it's as simple as that. That's the simplest you can make it. So with that, we're gonna go ahead and get into these security announcements and prayers. ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. Book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 to 10. It means 10th in the Hebrew, Ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund. It's a free will offering for priests. It's not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Slovakia. So we have the Midwest Far Weekend, which will be in Chicago, Illinois. It said every single Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian should be attending this event in order to get this truth. And to receive this brotherhood, to build up the spirits of our nation, and to get off that Christian spirit of kumbaya. You're saying it's going to be July 22nd to the 24th. Let me see if I got the... July 22nd, which is a Thursday, is 12 Shil Jeremiah Hyman's breakdown class. It's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's going to be at the Chicago School at 938 East 79th Street, Chicago, Illinois. And then on July 23rd, which is a Friday, I do believe, so it will be camp at 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. downtown Chicago. Address 108 North State Street, Chicago, Illinois. Zip code 60602. And West Side Chicago, Madison and Pulaski. And we'll also be having a lecture after camp, How Colonization Divided Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans lecture. It's from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. So hosted by Officer of 1,000 Karyash Bangad and Officer of 1,000 Thawawan Bangad. You know what I'm saying? Two Gadite brothers putting in heavy work for the so-called Native Indians in their respected zones. You know what I'm saying? And that will be at 938 East 79th Street, Chicago, Illinois. And on July 24th, there'll be the Black and Brown Cookout at 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. It's at Douglas Park. The address is 1200 West 12th Place. So if you got any questions, just look us up on Google, give our number a call, and any questions you have can be answered. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or a war scarf. With that said, I majim, which means to stand, Wapunya Hakidam, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abba Nawa, Shabashamayim, Quadash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwithka, Thaba'a, Ratazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'aratazah, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathan, Lanawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalakanawa, Kawaba Wathanawa, Kasalahanawa, Kawaba Wathayanawa, Wala'a, Tabayayanawa, Banasayawan, Abal, Hawashayanawa, Mayun, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha'ala, Watparith, Lawalamyam, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Sar, which means a turn. Sisters can be seated. I'm going to give a salute to the brothers, men of Israel, Majim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbarakatham, Azamatah. I'm going to give a salute to the sisters online. Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Shamar Al Thumba Hashem Yahweh Shai. Azamatah. Class dismissed.